Have you ever thought about how meticulous and how much time it takes to design a book cover? I've always thought about that because book covers are so very important. I know a lot of people, and you always hear it, don't judge a book by its cover, but a really good cover can sell a book just by looking at it. People will look at the beautiful art, will look at the cool font, will look how it pops off of a bookshelf. There's a lot of things that really go into that, and I think it's a very interesting piece of art that a lot of people don't really think about because I think advertising art tends to get looked down upon or as looked about like, oh, it's just another thing that's part of life. But I think advertising art is actually really cool and very interesting, especially cover design. So, hello everybody, this is that Manga Dude, and welcome to the 5,000 subscriber special. I finally decided to make this video. This was a video a long time coming because I've had 5,000 subscribers now for a few months, and it's just been basically patiently waiting to get this video out because it's going to be a long one. This is my top 50 manga covers of all time. Now, I do have some rules for myself, just to keep it interesting and to make it more fun as a viewer. I am only choosing one cover per series, so there are series that I think have absolutely fantastic covers, but I don't think people want to watch a list of 50 manga covers where like 20 of them are from like only 4 different series. So to make it interesting for me and for you, I have decided to choose only one volume per series, like I mentioned. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really great series just out there, and I was talking to my wife about this, that there's actually a lot of series that I think just don't really have very good covers personally. There's a lot of series that I happen to really love, like Wand Dance is one that comes to mind, where I'm not really the biggest fan of the covers personally. I think the covers are cool, but they aren't necessarily like the best thing in the world. So it was interesting making this list after like kind of looking at everything, kind of thinking about it and be like, do I really actually like these covers? So it's gonna be a really fun one. I hope you're excited, so let's get started right now. Okay, in order to make this video as watchable or as easy to watch as possible, I'm going to be kind of rapid firing from 50 up until 21, give kind of like a loose description as to why I love it, and then for 20 to 1, I will go a little bit more in depth as to why I love those covers so very much. So yeah, let's get started right now. So we have ourselves number 50 is Whistle Volume 21 from Daisuke Higuchi. I just love that this is a sideways cover. I think it looks really cool. I love that the full team is visible, and I just think it's neat. Volume number 49 goes to Millennium Snow Volume 3. This is just a very gorgeous cover. I love the art style that they used. I love how the character's kind of fading into the background and having these very dark snow flakes in the front that helps to pop it out. Number 48 goes to Kakaishi Volume 14. Just some very beautiful colors on here. I love the light pink that they use, as well as the sunset colors just looking great on the mountains, and obviously one of our main characters looking really cool in a pretty interesting pose as well. Number 47 goes to Black Cat Volume 20. I just have a soft spot for this cover. I like the series a lot, and I love that the colors in the background are like a little bit more orange, that sepia tone, kind of like showing like a past thing, because everything that Train Hartnett has built up to, these are all his like friends and confidants that he's met throughout the series. Number 46 goes to Soul Eater Volume 19. Now, I often talk about why I don't like covers that just have a character with a white background, but I think this one does it extremely well, especially with the cover being split between black and white, which is a big thing, a part of Death the Kid's character, and I just think this is a really, really cool and kind of creepy cover, and I love that. I love it for that. Okay, coming into 45, we have ourselves Kageki Shoujo Volume 7. This is a really pretty simple cover, but I love the poses, I love the swords, I think they're really cool, I think they're drawn really well, and I love the reflection that's based off of them. 44, Not All Girls Are Stupid by Minami Kyuta. This is actually a very new one to my list, but I do really like this a lot. I love the painterly style that they used for the character. I love the line art that's kind of like the sketchy line art that really helps to draw out the character, and the hair kind of texture, and I just love that orange that goes with it. It is a very fun little cover here. Alright, 43. We have ourselves One More Step, Come Stand By My Side from Toriyumon Takeda. Just an extremely well-drawn character. I love the posing. I love the intricate designs and the drawing there. And I actually really do like the font as well. I think it's really cool. Number 42, another one now new to the list, that is Snegorochka of the Spring Breeze from Hiroaki Samura. If you couldn't tell, I do really love these sideways covers. This one notwithstanding, I think this one looks really, really cool. Very interesting pose and just composition as well. It's a really cool cover. And then number 41, we have ourselves Zatch Bell, Volume 14. Just really sick. I don't know. There's something about it. I love like the God rays that are coming in from the background. Puts a lot of focus onto Zatch and Wanrei with our side characters as well. Also like getting ready for this big fight. I love the green that they used for like the kind of like chapel. I don't know. It just really works for this specific volume. Alright, number 40 goes to Dragon Ball Volume 11. There's a lot of really cool Dragon Ball ones, but I do like this one quite a bit. I think Akira Toriyama's really great at drawing vehicles, and I think this vehicle just looks really cool. Goku has a little fun little pose, and Oolong also is just kind of like holding on for dear life, and I just really like that. 39, we have ourselves Shadow's House Volume 2 from Samato. Shadow's House has a lot of really great covers, but I think Volume 2 is a great example of what you're going to get into with the series. I do like it when a cover really kind of is tackling what's going on into the story, and I think Shadow's House Volume 2 has a really great example of that. I love the perspective. I love how it's like really focused on the one-point perspective and kind of getting darker and darker as you move into the Shadow House, so I think that's really neat. Up next, 38, we have ourselves Astrobiologist Pratis, another newer volume. But I love the colors on this. I just think it's really cool. It reminds me of a really nice summertime. It's really pop. I don't know. The colors are just really well done. I like that it's like kind of framed in a way, so there's like a vignette that is created with that frame. Even though the frame is very obvious, I think it just looks really cool in this specific design. 37, we have ourselves Tekkon Kincrete from Taiyo Matsumoto. This is a series that I think is really cool. Another one that has a very specific cover that I just think looks really, really well done. I love the colors. I love how like kind of simple it is, but it's kind of explaining what you're going to get into. And I just think the design is really interesting. And I don't know, it's just a nice little composition with a very fun lineless style for the most part. There's obviously some lines here and there, but I think for the most part it is a very interesting style that you don't see often. Okay, number 36 is My Broken Mariko. Beautifully painted. This looks absolutely remarkable, and I think you can see the wonderful motion is pulled together so well on this page, on this specific cover. It looks really nice, and you kind of know what you're going to get into. It's going to be something probably very sad. Number 35, this one was really difficult for me choosing a Naruto cover, but Naruto Volume 20 always comes to mind for me specifically. I love the posing, it's intense, it has a strong line work and just strong movement, it's such an intensity to the fight that they're in, and I just think it looks really, really cool. I don't know, there's something about it that really pulls it together. There's a lot of other really great Naruto volumes, but this one specifically has always sat with me in the top. Number 34, that is Ice Shield 21, Volume 15. This is so dynamic, so much fun. The perspective is really cool. The foreshortening is fantastic. I love this cover. It is gorgeous. Number 33, My Love Mix-Up Volume 1 by Aruko. By Aruko. Really pretty cover. I love the watercolor style. It looks really great. I love, like I said, that storytelling that's going on. Kind of giving you an idea of what's probably going to happen between these three is going to be a big part of the main story. And once again, it's a sideways cover. Love those sideways covers. Number 32, My Dear Detective, Mitsuko's Case Files, Volume 1. Just really gorgeous colors. I think the red really pops with this cover. It looks super nice. And I love the character designs. I love the posing. You can get an idea of who these characters are just from looking at their faces, their pose, like how they're sat. It's really great. I don't know. It's very well done. I love this kind of like, I don't know what to call it, but like this kind of frame that they have, it looks really nice. Gives you that old school feel because you know you're going to be reading a series that's like in an older time. So really love that. And then coming into number 31, we have ourselves Search and Destroy Volume 1 from Atsushi Kaneko. I love this cover. I think this cover is really cool. I love that the title goes into perspective, into like the kind of like the darkness. It looks really cool. I love the character in the background. I love kind of like this monochromatic style and color that they have. It's only like a yellow and a gold / bronze kind of color, as well as gray. So I just think it's really well done with the limited color palette. It looks really neat and just really well drawn. Okay, coming into number 30, Our Dreams at Dusk, Volume 2. Another series that has a very limited color palette, but I think it does it so well. I think the colors are really great, and they match what these characters are all about. I love the posing, and yeah, it just looks really, really nice. Going into Volume 29, we have ourselves Ultimo Volume 2 from Stanley, Hiroyuki Daigo, and Bob. Very gorgeous cover. I really do love a lot of the Ultimo covers, but this one specifically, I just think the reflection on Vice's arms looks really neat. I love the pattern design. It looks really cool. It's just, there's a lot of like pieces that are here that work really well for me, and obviously because it swings to the back, that makes it really cool. Coming into 28, we have ourselves Glitch Volume 3. I think Shima Shinya is a master at making really interesting and well-designed covers. I think they're so cool. Glitch Volume 3 specifically, I'm once again, another one of those ones that has a limited color palette, but I love that they use yellow specifically because it gives off like kind of like this rustic feel, but also keeping it bright and dark at the same time, so you're not really sure like what's truly going on. Kind of matches the tone of the story, so I think that's just really well done. Volume 27, or number 27, is Emanon Volume 2. Absolutely gorgeous. Shinji Kajio, Kenji Tsuruta. You always expect this from a Kenji Tsuruta manga. The covers are going to look absolutely gorgeous, and this one, notwithstanding, looks beautiful. The sunset in the background is so beautifully painted. I love the character. I love the way that she's drawn. Her pose exactly as you would expect from her character when you meet her throughout the story. It's just a very well done cover. Alright, number 26 is Seaside Beta. Okay, this is a little bit different from my typical one, but this one is just a very well-designed one. It's very simple, but if you look very closely, there is a binary code that's in the background, which is part of the story. Once you've read it, it makes a lot more sense. I love how simple it is, but the movement is really nice. I think the design leaves you up for a lot of interpretation. You're not really sure what you're going to get into, but I think that's what's really cool about this specific cover. It leaves the mystery up for you when you read, but definitely hints at what's going to happen throughout the volume. So really, really love this cover. 25, we have ourselves Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood's Wolf Apprentice Final Testament to the Moon Volume 1 from Sayaka Mogi. Honestly, I could have chosen either of the volumes because the covers are so gorgeous, but the colors totally pop with this black background. I love like the character designs. I love the wolves. You could tell that they are definitely strong anatomy for animal and for humans as well, and just some really cool patterns that kind of match with the storytelling throughout the story. So this is a really, really beautiful cover. Number 24 is Hirayasumi Volume 4, another series that has a lot of really great covers, but I like this one specifically because I really like the shading. It looks really cool. I like the contrast between the bright sections versus the darker sections. This dark blue right here, I don't know, it just really looks cool. And there's a lot of really great moments here, like you get the little shading, or you get the little like shadows of the diorama that's up at the top. You kind of get like also like the shadow from the poster because it's not really stuck on very well. I don't know, there's a lot of storytelling going on within this specific cover, and I think it just looks really cool. Going into number 23, Yotsuba Volume 15. Very simple, but it's just a beautiful cover. Really great using that kind of, when you're in the foreground of a painting or a drawing, having things a little bit more detailed, and as you get further back, it starts to lose that detail, so you get that nice feeling of depth, and I think it's really well done. And obviously the characters just look really well drawn. The shading is fantastic. I love the shadows that are on the rocks. They look really cool, and it just looks very nice. I don't know, it's a very simple cover, but it gets the job done. It's extremely effective, and it tells you exactly what the story is all going to be about. All right, number 22. This is a kind of like a special pleasure, or like a guilty pleasure, because Shaman King Volume 24, while not necessarily like the best designed cover, I think this cover just oozes cool factor, at least for me. You got Yo with his really cool like oversoul coming out with a giant sword, and then all of our partner characters are also teaming up with him to kind of like get ready for the big fight against the big baddie. I think it just looks really cool. It's really neat. Is it the best cover in the world? No, but it's a cover that means a lot to me specifically. And then coming into number 21, we have ourselves Hell's Paradise Volume 10. This one is so cool. I love that the character is like kind of this darker gray, and it really helps with the yellow background. It pops the character out. It just looks really creepy, but also very interesting and very beautiful at the same time. Okay, we are now officially in the top 20. This is when I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about why I like these volumes. So first up is going to be number 20, Yokohama Kaidashi Kiku, but specifically it is the volume 5 Tankaban, I think is what it's called. I'll pull it up right here. It's this cover right here. So it's the Yokohama Kaidashi Kiku Volume 5, the Shinsoban, edition from 2009. It is such a beautiful cover. I love it so much. Once again, it's one of those really simple monochromatic like volume covers, but it looks so good. The reflections on Alpha look beautiful. The lighting looks fantastic. It's really well done. I love that the highlights are outside of her line art, so it actually helps her to pop out more. And I love the highlights that are along the clouds. It's just an extremely well designed. It's just a really well designed cover. The blues are so beautiful. I don't know. It's an extremely well done cover. All right, going into volume number 19, we have ourselves Shonen no Boy Soprano Volume 3 from Yuki Kamatani. Just a absolutely gorgeous cover. I think specifically with this one, what I love about it so much is the character is extremely well drawn, and I love that the background, it kind of changes the art style a little bit. Has a little bit less of the line art that you see in the character, but so it creates its own unique feeling, and it creates that surreal feeling that you get a lot of in Shonen no Boy Soprano. I love the yellows. I think the yellow is so gorgeous in this, especially like the darker yellows that you get from the flowers here in the left corner, creating once again that foreground versus background. As you see, as it gets further back, we get a little bit less detail, so it shows that depth of field really well. I just think it's a really beautiful cover. I think it's extremely well done, and just, I don't know. There's something also just about the character's hair that you can't see up close, or as further back, so I'm going to bring it up close. But the amount of detail that goes into that hair, even though there's not a lot of line art, the coloring is done extremely well and just looks absolutely beautiful. Coming into volume 18, number 18 is Sakamoto Days Volume 4. This cover is so flipping cool. I have talked about this cover before. I think it's just a really, really cool cover. I love the invisible feeling that the character is giving off, which that's the whole point of this cover, is that he's supposed to be wearing kind of like an invisible suit, which allows him to go invisible. And I think it's just really cool how distorted all the background is, but you still know exactly where he is. The posing is super strong, really gives off like the ooze that confidence that the character does have. And you get the mysterious like kind of deer man in the background. Very interesting kind of like camera selection as well, because we're on like the ground in a way, but as you like see it, it kind of like moves like this in terms of like this with the camera. So I just think it looks really cool. The color choices are awesome. Green, blue, yellow, and purple just really work well together. It's just an absolutely gorgeous cover, and I think it's just oozing with coolness. Alright, coming up next, we have ourselves Volume 17, and number 17 is Full Night Volume 4 from Kasumi Yasuda. I could have chosen so many of the Full Night covers. There are a lot of, I mean, they're all very similar, but they all kind of give you that same exact feeling. And Full Night Volume 4, specifically for me, I think gives off that perfect feeling of this series. It's a level of dread, there's a level of horror, a level of creepiness, a level of mystery that you don't really understand. Especially with the gray human heart, I think that just looks really creepy, and it helps with that kind of like blue color. That I don't know what this blue is specifically, but the blue and grays just work well together. And then obviously having the character here on the front, he looks super cool, and you just know you're gonna get into something very, very strange, and probably something very creepy as well. Yeah, I really like Kasumi Yasuda's art style. I think it really works really well. I love the difference, the contrast between the extremely realistic heart and the very stylized character. So a lot of great things working together in the Full Night volume. All right, going into number 16, if you probably were expecting it, because I think everyone does expect it, is Witch Hat Atelier Volume 13 from Kamame Shirahama. I could have chosen probably most of Witch Hat Atelier's covers, but this one specifically is so beautiful. The yellows are gorgeous. I love that the road actually stays white, which I think is kind of interesting. Keeps that manga art style feel while also still providing such unique line art going on in the background. The focus is on the character, which I think is great. The character's pose is fantastic. Gives off that sense of whimsy, but also something that might just be a little bit off, especially with the character's points on his feet, give off that sense of action, of intensity. If you don't know, with art specifically, a lot of those like focal points, a lot of triangles are used to kind of promote like that action, intensity, anger, things like that. So I think that this character also pulls that off. It's just a really, really cool cover, and I love it a lot. Okay, going into number 15, Haikyuu Volume 22. This one is so flippin' cool. Haikyuu is one of the series that if I had a choice, there would be probably like 5 or 6 volume covers on this list, because I really love a lot of Haikyuu covers, but this one is so awesome. The movement is great. The action is awesome. The pose is perfect. The art is wonderful. Great shading. Just to give you an idea of like his movement, of like how a character, when he's using that pose, the shading is beautiful. I love the foreshortening as well when you get down to his chest, down to his legs. It just looks right. It doesn't look like his body is like too long or too short, which is always a struggle with foreshortening, is making sure that the character still looks correct. And so I just really like this cover. The red also helps a lot to boost this out. It just looks really, really cool. Coming into number 14, this one's a little bit simpler than my other ones, but Hikaru no Go Volume 23. I love Takeshi Obata's art, and I think this cover is a great example of like what these characters have gone through at this point. Still looking towards the future. The colors are super strong. They're lush, especially the human skin. Like you could tell he put a lot of work into making sure that the shading is perfect for his face, for Hikaru's face, as well as our other kind of like the rival character. The shading is really well done. The lights, the highlights look great. The clothing texture is super good for both of the characters. Like you can get an idea of what that clothing texture is supposed to be, even though they're wearing very different clothing. So overall, this is a very wonderful cover and a great example of like what has happened throughout the series that leads us up to this point. So I really love this cover. Okay, coming into number 13, we have Usatoki Rhetoric Volume 7. Just absolutely gorgeous. I love Usatoki Rhetoric's covers. They are so well done. Ritsu Miyako knows how to make a beautiful cover, and this one is a great example of that. I love the maple leaves. They look great. I love the use of blur in order to create that kind of like texture of movement, which is always awesome. I love the kimono's design on the back. It looks beautiful, looks wonderful. The colors all work together. We're getting this semblance of fall, and just kind of feels great. You're like, you know, you're there to enjoy the fall weather. The leaves are very well drawn, very well colored. Our character is also well drawn as well. I love that you can see the shading from the umbrella on her hair and her forehead, so you can tell where she is in proximity to the umbrella. It's just a very gorgeous cover. The colors are lovely, and using that black as well really helps to make the red pop out even more, even though the red doesn't really need a lot, but it makes it so much cooler. Coming into Volume 12, Tagami Bachi Volume 12, Hiroyuki Asada. That's kind of funny that I accidentally put 12 and 12 together, but these covers are so beautiful. Tagami Bachi has some of the best covers just across the board. I love almost all of them. Volume 12, beautiful stuff. That limited color palette, once again, that's working with the cover colors that they always use is darker blue. Such a rich orange, helps to pop out the character from the clothing. The movement, the poses are all very strong. It's just really cool. I don't know, like you can get an idea of like how this is supposed to be looked at. You know, you could start from here, like, oh, the bird's like taking us up, and there's a character here. He's watching the girl fly away, and he's trying to like help her as well. So like, it's just a very well designed cover. It keeps the eye moving across the whole cover, which is always a great example of a very strongly designed cover, and just strongly designed art as well. All right, going into Volume 11, Insomniacs After School, from Volume 5 from Makoto Ojiro. I love Insomniacs' covers. I think they're really gorgeous, but I love this one specifically because there's such a fun playfulness to this one specifically. We have our main girl here. She's dancing, got this like kind of fun, silly pose, but I love that how the clothes drape around her. I think it's very well designed, formatted. I just, you could tell where the wrinkles are. You could feel that the clothes are properly placed on her body as she's doing this dance. And I love this beautiful reflection that's coming from the moon down onto the water. Once again, another one of those ones where you can tell how this is supposed to be looked at. You know, her character is moving you up to the moon. The moon brings you down to this like lovely little water and the reflection, and it also brings you back up to her. So it's kind of like this movement here. So it takes you up here, down, up, and giving you that kind of really cool, interesting triangle design that you just love to see. And it's such a beautiful cover. I also like the whimsy of the little stars that are going to be seen just across here because obviously they're a lot less realistic, but still gives you that fun and kind of enjoyment that these kids are going to be having. All right, going into the top 10. Number 10 is Blue Giant, Volume 9 through 10. Wow, what a cover. Man, Blue Giant also has a lot of great covers, and I think this one specifically is just so cool. It just gives you that like sense of looking at a jazz album, which is exactly what this series is all about. Like, once again, that storytelling with the cover is super cool, and I love it when they do that. I think the characters being inside these kind of like blocks reminds you of a piano, but also it kind of reminds you of like the valves of a saxophone, which is what the main character plays. So it's just really cool. This cover is awesome. Like I said, it's just knows what it's doing. It tells it in such a fun little way. This is a jazz band. They are doing jazz music, and it's really cool. I love this cover quite a bit. All right, going into number 9, we have ourselves Lost Lad London Volume 2. Lost Lad London. Beautiful covers. 1 and 2 are awesome. I think I chose 2 specifically. 1 because I like the posing of the characters. I love how they're drawn. I do love this like super bold kind of like mint that's going along with this like kind of mahogany orange. It looks really cool. It is also just a nice sense of contrast. You have a green/red orange, which works great. The dead trees in the background, which kind of gives you an idea of where they're supposed to be. I don't know. It's really cool, and I love that like the title as well is kind of hidden in the background, as well as being obviously very obvious here. So I love this kind of motif that mangaka use, where you have this kind of like see-through text of the title in the back. All right, going into number 8, we have ourselves Go With The Clouds, North by Northwest, Volume 7. Another series that has such gorgeous and beautiful covers. This is, wow. There's so much to talk about here. The colors are genuinely gorgeous. Like, look at this. Okay, I'm just gonna bring it up really quick, really close here. This like wonderful hue that they use for the red here helps that pop out so much, especially using that back dark green that gives you that nice contrast of the light with the dark. It helps to pop out those beautiful colors in the background. And also, if you come closer here, you have like the really lovely movement of the leaves, the ginkgo leaves that are flowing through the wind, that are also seen throughout like the background here. You can see them here as well. Once again, another one of those ones where you can tell how this is supposed to be looked at, how we have like a foreground where it's a very textured leaves. You can kind of see the veins, and as you get further back, they become less and less focused, but you still know exactly what you're looking at. Really great colors. I think just it is such a absolutely gorgeous and beautiful design. The colors are so lovely, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a nice, peaceful, calming cover, and it's a little bit of a contrast to what's been going on in the series, which I think is really great to have this volume. All right, going into number 7, we have ourselves Run Away With Me Girl. This is volume 1 from Batan. Oh man, there's once again another lot of fantastic covers, but this one specifically is so beautiful, heart-wrenching. You know exactly what you're going to get into with this. You could tell that there's some kind of tension between these two characters because they're such very different poses. They're kind of set like this into a triangle once again, creating this sense of angst, like they're yearning, and there's like a sense of just so much going on here. The lighting is great. The colors of her dress are gorgeous. Such beautiful line art as well. You get the soft kind of tones for like the characters' hair, but then you have like these darker, sharper ones for like, so you can get a shape of their faces, which looks really cool and really nice. It's an absolutely gorgeous cover. I love this one specifically. Another one that's kind of framed in a specific way, so it's giving you a vignette of what's truly going on, and I love this volume cover so very much. It's just, there's so much to love about it. Whew. Going into number 6, we have ourselves The Gray Man Volume 10 from Katsuda Hashino. Another one that actually has a lot of really great covers, but this one specifically I think is just so cool. We get a big focus on one of the main characters in this volume, or in this part of the series, and she's in the main focus. She's one of the only characters that's actually in full color, along with Lenali in the background, while everybody else is kind of grayed out because there's still like a important part of the story, but there's a lot of stuff going on where she's like the main focus. It's I love like these kind of like intense lines that are focused around her light as well. They're actually being used in black. It gives you that kind of stained glass feeling, which is really cool, but also a sense of like danger and worry, like what's going on, like why is like the light also kind of like protruding darkness. So it's just like there's a lot of really great design things going on here. I love that she's like shaped like kind of like as a cross, shaped in the way that Jesus was like hung on the cross. And this series having a lot of religious motifs, this works really well as well. So I don't know, there's just a lot to love about De Gray Mantis covers, but this one specifically is just one of my favorites by far. Okay, coming into the top 5, we have ourselves, number 5 is Promised Neverland Volume 13. Oh my goodness, there is so much to love about this. Let's get up nice and close here, right? Volume 13. One, the colors are absolutely beautiful. I love the yellow being used as like a major highlight. In the background, you get this like really kind of creepy little clock that's going around, and I love like the darker areas, the darker tones that they use. You have these greens and these kind of like this green, this blue, the darker greens as well here. So it puts a lot of emphasis and focus on this section right here. We have our 3 main characters in such great poses, and it kind of gives you an example of what these characters are. Emma being kind of like this leader type, really focused on like the energy. Ray being more focused on like the books and the time, kind of explaining how his character is, and Norman kind of being there like to be the support, but also seems to be something cooking up something in the back as well. It's a really cool cover. Like I said, really great just movement and composition as well, because we get some like interesting stares. You're like, why is this going on over here? A lot of wonderful movement and just such an interesting perspective, because it kind of gives you like a fisheye lens as you get like kind of like focused more on here, and then if you notice this like gives like a strange kind of movement, which also adds to this kind of perplexing and kind of complex area that they're in. It's an absolutely beautiful cover. I love this one quite a bit, and it's just really well designed. I think it's really cool. Coming into volume number 4, aka number 4, it's Slam Dunk Volume 27. The stylization of this is so flippin' cool. I love this cover. It is awesome. I love that it's super simplified. It is down to just a few colors that they use, but it has so much, it just oozes with so much coolness. I love that the reds kind of meld together between the players, kind of showing that a team is a sum of its parts. So they're all like connected with one another, and I think that's really cool. I love that it also merges with the kind of frame that they have. The green and the red are just working really well together as complementary colors, which is a very common color design philosophy, where basically on the color wheel, red and green are across from one another. So because they're basically opposites, they work really well together, and this is a great example as to why. That green helps the red pop out, while the red is also complementing the green and helping the green pop out as well. So it's a very intense cover. It's really cool. A lot of also emphasis on the muscles of these characters. You can tell that they've been putting a lot of time and effort into working out, making sure that they are ready for basketball. And I just love this cover. I think it's really amazing. Coming in at number 3, you knew it was coming. It's A Bride Story, Volume 5. There's so much to love about A Bride Stories' covers. There's always such a huge emphasis on these beautiful, absolutely gorgeous character and fashion and clothing design. This one, it's just got such beautiful designs, such wonderful line work. It's so smooth, it's so effortless, it looks wonderful. These characters, like, once again, telling a story with these characters. You know, they're twins, they're wearing the same clothing, they're kind of like one and the same, but also very slightly different, as you could tell by the way that they're grabbing the blanket. Like, she's holding it with more of like a tightness, and she's holding kind of like it like as a bundle, which is really neat. The background is also really nice. It's just kind of like giving you that old school feeling of like, this is a story from history. We got that tan kind of sepia tone. It just works really well. Gives you an idea of like what you're getting into. Like, this is going to be a story that's based around something that's not necessarily in Japan, and it's not in Japan, but you get to follow a story of various characters. Volume 5, notwithstanding, wonderful cover. I love it to pieces. Number 2, which was number 1 for a long time until very recently. Number 2 is Bakuman Volume 8 from Takashi Obata. I love these covers. Bakuman has some of my favorite covers of all time, but Volume 8 specifically, once again, leans into that really interesting composition. We have a really wonderfully rendered hand with all that ink on him. You get this like kind of like lovely lighting that's going on, so you just know how his hand is bent, and it just gives you just a nice sense of depth about how bony and kind of like how muscular his parts of his hands are, like the character being more in the background and the hands the big focus, with how important the hand is for art and for drawing. You'll love I love the busyness that's going on in the background, but it doesn't distract from the main character. Once again, another focus, like I said, with a lot of detail on the kind of like whiteout and all this stuff. You get to like see like a full barcode, but if you look back here, there's like nothing. It's just like, you know, oh, that's a blue binder. Oh, those are folders. It's just a really cool cover. And I love it so much. This is actually one of the covers that made me want to go into art specifically. I just thought it was so interesting and so much to look at, so much to just take in as you look into this cover. But it's so well designed. Everything is placed there for a reason, and I just think that's super cool and well deserving of the number 2 spot. All right, number one cover of all time for me personally. Cover that is so gorgeous, so beautiful, and just recently made it into my collection, but like when you see it, you'll know why. That is Canis Dear Hatter Volume 1. Talk about an absolutely gorgeous cover, and wow, it is so meticulously designed. It is so cool. I love this character's pose. It's like this kind of like sneaky, mysterious kind of posing, while you can also tell what he is. You can tell he puts a lot of emphasis into working on hats, as you can tell by this kind of ripped up glove that he uses. The colors just pop so well. They look so beautiful. And then obviously having that back cover with that character from this over here as well on the back just looks really cool. The blues, the reds, everything just works really well. The contrast between the darker and the character being in a lighter art style helps him to pop out from the background. but also gives a lot of emphasis about how busy and distracted and intense making hats is. Such a beautiful cover. It is so gorgeous. I could talk about this one forever and ever and ever, but not to bore you too much. I love this cover. I think it's a great example of what the series is all about as well. It's gonna be about hats, it's gonna be about men, it's gonna be about dudes loving each other to an extent with having some kind of angst. And yeah, you're gonna be in for a treat, that's for sure. And yes, that is exactly why Canis Deer Hatter Volume 1 is my favorite cover of all time. Whew, that was quite the video. That was a lot to get in, a lot to take in. A lot to say too. My throat is shot, but it was so much fun recording this video. What are your favorite manga covers? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think, or what you guys are preferring in manga covers. And you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Those are all amazing things, and I love it when you do it. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for 5,000 subscribers. Let's go on to 6,000 subscribers now. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.